is my neighbor? Well, you can blame Jesus and not me for the light topic in this morning's gospel. You take it up with him. Who is my neighbor? That's the question. The big question. The perennial question. The question that each of us must answer time and time again, day after day, year after year. As we see from this familiar story, this gospel today of the Good Samaritan, it is the gospel question. The question Jesus answers with a story, teaching that it is the one who shows mercy, who is following God. I want to tell you just a brief story. Some of you were here in this parish 25 years ago. Many of you were not. But this is a story about St. John's Episcopal Church and something that happened here and the way that this parish answered that very question way back a generation ago. I know because I was here. It was perhaps a simpler time, a gentler time, maybe we might say, although I think that's nostalgia speaking. I think that we always look back in that way, or often do. In those days, the number of Spanish speakers living on Johns Island and Wadmalaw was much higher than it is today. Given its farming history, Johns Island and Wadmalaw, they were something of a gateway for folks from Mexico and Central America who were seeking a better life. And many first came here as seasonal migrant workers to work in the tomato fields and cucumber fields, and then over time, people began to stay. So some, 25 years ago, most were for fleeing impoverished conditions, hoping to support their families, both here and back home in Mexico. Others were escaping political violence, as a friend of mine from Guatemala who came here. Her entire family and her village had been massacred by a paramilitary death squad. And so there were various reasons for folks to be here on Johns Island. And so here at St. John's, and this is before I was ordained to the priesthood, we launched a ministry, and a small, transient, Spanish-speaking congregation emerged. We met on Sunday evenings right here. I left my teaching position at Bishop England High School to serve in this ministry full-time as lay vicar and missioner. We had a lot of help and support from so many. This parish in those days said yes to the ministry, as did the entire diocese. The diocese enthusiastically supported our efforts. I remember not long after we had begun, I was at diocesan convention, and a man from down in Bluffton approached me. And this gentleman had been very active in diocesan affairs, had probably served on the standing committee with Barbara Gilchrist. His name was Tommy Hayward, and he was a descendant of Thomas Hayward, one of the signers from South Carolina of the Declaration of Independence. And he said to me, "Let me tell you something. I think what y'all are doing is great. Let me know if I can help in any way, because it's the right thing to do. We all came from somewhere else, and we need to remember that." I served in this ministry for 4 years before finally leaving to attend seminary. And I only left, I didn't want to leave, but I only left because I had a bad fall one spring day. I was running through the Chattanooga airport after a meeting at Sewanee, where I had been trying to convince the administration at Sewanee to allow me to study with them from a distance, because I did not want to leave the fledgling little congregation here. And I got mixed up about the time zones, because Sewanee is Central Time, and then you drive down the mountain, and Chattanooga is Eastern. So that was what happened. And so on the way home, I tripped over my luggage and fell, seriously injuring my neck. And it was an injury that would only become evident several days later. Perhaps you've had something like that. Yes, I did catch my flight. So after subsequent surgery and during a period of recovery, one of the members of the Spanish-speaking congregation came to visit me, together with his mother. They really were from one of the original families from Mexico who settled here on the island. And this fella is still an Episcopalian today. Octavio is his name. And Octavio told me, he sat right in my living room and said, as Jesus says, the poor you will always have with you. And then he gestured to himself and his mother, and he said, and we are the poor, and we will be here. But you are called to be a priest, and you have to do this. You have to go away to study. So in just a couple of months, I found myself enrolled full-time, in person, at Sewanee in the School of Theology. Now, I tell you the story, I could have chosen another story about this parish, but I tell you this story to demonstrate to you who you are. I'm talking about you. It's who you are and how you welcome everyone in our vicinity and beyond. Because the gospel mandate is clear, and it frees us from everything else. We can talk about all the other issues, yes, but the one mandate, to be a good neighbor, to answer that question for ourselves, who is my neighbor? Who is your neighbor? Who are our neighbors? And when it's all said and done, it's all about mercy. No ifs, ands, or buts. Mercy, compassion, plain and simple. Amen.